Tonight, the politics of going rogue. And in that regard, I am delighted to welcome another former candidate and current best-selling author in his case of A Simple Christmas, which is the #1 book in its category on Amazon.com. Former Governor Mike Huckabee joins me tonight live in Jackson, Mississippi. Governor, delighted to see you. Rounding out our political panel, let me not hesitate to say, I'm pleased to welcome the lovely and talented actress in the middle there and activist Morgan Fairchild, who joins us tonight from Los Angeles. And on your right, from her base near Davie, Florida, the Chief Deputy Democratic Whip, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz joins me. But I'm going to put ladies first aside, jump to the gentleman first. Governor, congratulations on the success of the book, A Simple Christmas. You're really rocking there. But I'm so glad you're in Mississippi, because the governor of Mississippi, the president of the Republican Governors Association, Haley Barbour, who I'm sure you know, I'm not sure what your relationship is, but he refused to say that Sarah Palin was qualified to be president of the United States. What say you?
Well, first of all, Haley is a very close personal friend. I wouldn't have a political career had it not been for him. When he was the chairman of the Republican National Committee, he was very helpful to me when I ran for lieutenant governor in Arkansas. So I'm one of the biggest Haley Barbour fans in America. Nobody says anything bad about Haley Barbour in my presence, or I'll fight him like a chainsaw. So I'll clear that up right off the bat. Do I think Sarah Palin is qualified to be president? Yes. And let me tell you something. If Barack Obama is qualified to be president, Sarah Palin is more than qualified. She's actually held an executive position. She governed a state. She was mayor of a city. To the best of my knowledge, Barack Obama was never the CEO, the manager, the president, the governor, the mayor of anything, not even a small business. Now, we can argue that he has great academic credentials. If it was academic credentials that we selected as the criteria for the presidency, we'd go to Harvard and pick out some esteemed and very wonderful tenured scholar. But we look for people who not only have the best interests of Americans, but who have good judgment. And ultimately, you don't just hire somebody as president because of their knowledge, but for their wisdom. And Governor, I've not seen a lot in Barack Obama's management style so far.
Why would Governor Barbour not say she was qualified? Does it, let me put it this way, does it evidence to you friction between her rogue status, self-proclaimed and factual, and the Republican Party institutionally?
You know, every time I answer any question about Sarah Palin, I have people who say that I'm critical of Sarah Palin. So I'm going to be very careful tonight. Say, I'm glad she's on the stage. I think to have more conservative voices is great. There's some things that, you know, I said when she resigned the governorship, I didn't understand that. But then that got me in a whole bevy of trouble. My point tonight is that I'm glad that she's out there. I'm glad that people are believing that she is connecting with them on a personal level. She is a charismatic person. Nobody can take that from her. And she's brought a level of energy to the Republican Party. I stated that in a book I did last year called Do the Right Thing that's just been re-released. And I made it very clear that my position on Sarah Palin is that without her, the Republican Party wouldn't have had any chance whatsoever in last year's elections. It was tough enough as it was. We ended up not winning anyway. But you know, I don't know that she's, you know, the whole package of the Republican Party, but she's an important voice in it. Okay, she definitely knows how to get ratings and sell books. That is for sure. Morgan, I know nothing about your politics. No doubt about it.
Yeah, Morgan, I know nothing about your politics, but what do you think about Sarah Palin?
Well, I'm a moderate Democrat, so I love seeing Sarah Palin out there. She obviously connects to a certain segment of the population, but I don't think she has the qualities to be president, and I think she's already made her choice, given the book and the tour and everything that she's doing.
What do you mean by that?
The book is not a policy. The book is not a policy book. The book does not put forth statements of policy. It seems to be much more of a memoir and much more of a connecting with people book, as opposed to a person who wants to run for president. So, as a Democrat, I enjoy seeing her out there. She certainly attracts a lot of attention. She obviously enjoys herself and enjoys being out there and connecting with people. On the other hand, I don't see a future president there.
Congresswoman, you have, I have seen polls in the last couple of days that show Sarah Palin's approval rating approaching that. She's going up, Barack Obama's coming down, and it looks like they're both somewhere in the mid to high 40s now. that's pretty startling considering how unpopular she was immediately following last November's election.
Well, I think the whole point is that last November's election decided what the American people thought about whether Barack Obama or Sarah Palin and John McCain were qualified to lead this country, and that choice was made, and the voters chose Barack Obama overwhelmingly.
Do you think they would today?
That question sort of been settled.
Do you think they would today?
Hands down, they would today. I mean, if you look at the polls that are out about Sarah Palin in the last few days, I'm not sure about her popularity, but overwhelmingly, all of those polls show that the vast majority of the American people, when asked, think she is nowhere near qualified to be president of the United States. I mean, I think this whole Sarah Palin phenomenon is really more of a curiosity, kind of like when people are looking at a train wreck and they really just don't know what to make of it.
Whoa, Sarah Palin, a train wreck. I don't know if that's going to go over very well. But I think she's out there. She's huge. I think she's a thorn in the side of both parties in a way. And it will be interesting to see what choices she makes as this book continues to sell and she continues to promote it across the country. But we're going to change. We're going to keep the panel. Oh, I'm sorry, Congresswoman. Let me just take a quick pause because there's so much territory to cover tonight. Coming up, as everybody knows, they're calling it the second Louisiana Purchase. Did Democrats bribe a wavering senator to get their health care motion passed? And what about those breast cancer recommendations? It sure sounds like health care rationing.
Our state is still as poor as it was, if not poorer. I am not going to be defensive about asking for help in this situation. And it is not a $100 million fix. It's a $300 million fix.
But what about this idea that it takes $100 million in federal funds channeled to one state to get, I mean, should that be added into the cost of the health care bill?
No. Mary Landrieu is a very good legislator. She delivers the goods for Louisiana. She has constantly, and I think the people of Louisiana respect her for it.
Way back in 1803, President Thomas Jefferson vastly expanded the United States when he paid Napoleon Bonaparte more than $11 million for a huge chunk of land that today encompasses 14 southern and midwestern states. Called the Louisiana Purchase, that historic deal was back on the minds of many Americans yesterday when Republicans accused Democrats of a second Louisiana Purchase when they promised Louisiana Senator Mary Landrieu $100 million in extra Medicare payments for her stricken state if she voted to begin the health care debate. Awkward, yes. Governor Huckabee, unprecedented, unethical? What do you think?
Well, it's certainly not unprecedented. I kind of thought it was great. Mary came out, and I know her. I like her. She's a delightful human being, and I thought her candor was refreshing. She said, I'm not a cheap date. You can't get me for $100 million. It took $300 million. I mean, how wonderful for her just to come out and say, how dare you think that you can buy me for $100 million? It will be no less than $300. Look, this is how politics works, and
it is, okay.
It does, and I hate to break it to everybody, but here's the dirty little secret. When you've got a senator holding out, and she's the swing vote, and they've got to get her, they don't have a choice but to start negotiating, and she can just auction the price right on up. It's like ransom. Now, here's the problem with it, is that it happens in every state legislature, it happens at Congress, and it's one of those reasons that Will Rogers said nobody ought to see a law made because it's like watching sausage, and you never want to have anything to do with it. But here's the way that works. When you've given Mary Landrieu $300 million for her vote, I'll tell you, the guys that voted without anything now are feeling like real cheap dates because they went in and they bought into this incredibly hideous health care bill the Senate put out, and they got nothing. Now, what they're going to do is go back to Harry Reid and says, if Mary gets 300 to be the last vote, then I want 500 to be the first vote. It's just jacking the price up. And guess who pays for all this? You do. I do. Every taxpayer in America is going to pay through the nose for all of this nonsense. It has nothing to do with health care in America.
Congresswoman, you know, I've heard Democrats now saying these four moderates, these holdouts, Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz, these holdouts are the tail driving the donkey here, or in this case, the elephant. No, the donkey, I was right the first time. You know, how are you going to reconcile all of these seemingly irreconcilable positions to get a bill even that you can, you know, bring to a vote?